Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be putting together my project life spread for the week of October 18th through October 25th, 2025. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is the week of October 18th through 25th, which is actually a little bit longer than a week. And that is because this is the week right after vacation. So if you've been watching my project life process videos, you will see that I just documented a vacation that we took that took a few spreads, because when we travel, I tend to document my stories in project life a little bit different. I break things up by destination rather than week, and it can be a little bit more time consuming. So I'm kind of happy to be back to my regular documenting here with just a regular week. And I love travel documenting, but there's something about just everyday life documenting that is just so much fun. So I also I need to get back onto my regular weeks. So this spread covers a few extra days. So it goes from October 18th, which is a Saturday, through October 25th, which is the following Saturday, just to try to get myself back on that Monday through Sunday weekly spread, which I will get back on in a couple of weeks. So this spread, I'm using the Storyteller kit, the highs and lows Storyteller kit from Ali Edwards. So I did plan this spread out in that classroom, so I think that will make it go a little bit quicker. If you're interested in checking out like kind of how I plan this out, you can see that in that classroom. But I'm just going through and pulling the cards. So I pulled 3 story cards for this one. So I have this Tomorrow's a New Day, I have a challenging story, and right now, and then I have this like filler quote card. And then the rest are photos. So I do have a lot of photos on this spread. There was just a lot of little things to take pictures of this week, which I'm happy about. A lot of silly little things. This is a very good example. People say that they don't have anything to document to put in project life, and that's just not true. So this week you can see I have my journal sitting at my desk journaling, some photos of my cat, a new ornament I bought, a new fountain pen I got on vacation, the leaves outside. This is just a picture of my backyard, one of my dinner one night, and my hot tea. So like nothing exciting happened, but there's just stuff, just pictures from life. Okay, so I'm trying to think what stories I want to tell. So because I have these prompts, I kind of went through my stories already and kind of figured out what I wanted to talk about. So this is going to be about going to the mall, which actually goes with that photo. And this one is going to go with this photo, so I need to rearrange. And then this one is just going to be about work burnout, which does not have a photo. So maybe I'll put that one on this side. And then let's see. These two I think I'm going to put together like that. And then maybe I'll put, I kind of want these not to be lined up. And I definitely don't want these two touching. So I might do something like this, I think. I like that. I think I like that layout. I might move things. Okay, so then I also had these where I have 3 little chipboard asterisks and 3 little word strips. These were in the kit, and my plan was to kind of pair these together and then put a word on some things. So these are gonna go on 4x6 photos. And so let me see, I'm gonna pair like the green with the blue, the purple, maybe like that. I think that color arrangement, there, that color arrangement. Okay, so I need, let's see, let's do this one for the sushi. This one for my journaling, and then this one for pumpkin, but I kind of want to do it on this one and leave this photo just with nothing on it, because that's just such a pretty photo. And then I'm just going to come up with one word for those and probably put some alpha stickers or something to put on each of those. So that's gonna be one of the things I tackle in the spread. I need to do my journaling. I think I might do some stamping for like a larger title for each one. And then I want to put some embellishments probably on some of these photos. I'm thinking I might also bring out my Sharpie creative markers and maybe do some journaling on a couple of the photos rather than bringing embellishments. So I'm not sure yet, but I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put you guys on voiceover to get this one put together. And that way I can kind of talk through my thought process as this spread comes together. Okay, so this spread is a good example of why recording my process videos is sometimes a little frustrating. So I had a busy day on the day I was working on this project. So you will see throughout the remainder of this process video, there's a few kind of jumps. And that's because I came back to the spread multiple times because I took a break for lunch and then I had a call with a friend, and just like a bunch of different things kept interrupting my process, which is fine. But when I'm filming it, it makes it a little bit more complicated. So anyways, back to the spread. So what I wanted to do were these little embellishment clusters, and this was an idea I had when I was planning out this project. So each of these little tags says this was blank, and then I paired it with a chipboard piece. So I'm just adhering those down onto 3 of my 4x6 photos. And then I pulled over these white alpha stickers from the Kelly Perky shop. These are super old. When her shop was going out of business, I stocked up on a ton of the white and the black ones. I just absolutely love this basic font, and they're a great size. I wish that there was another brand that would make these basics. If you know of one where you can just keep getting them, please let me know, because I will run out someday and I will be very sad. But anyways, my plan is just to write a word, a describing word on each of these tags. And of course, it has to be a short word to fit on the tag itself. So I'm just looking at the photo and the memory and just kind of coming up with a word that fits. So for that first one, it was a picture of me swatching out my Tombos and reading the Book of Alchemy. So just kind of getting back into the routine of being at my desk after vacation. So I said fun. Then it was our takeout sushi. So I said yum. And then there's this photo of pumpkin hiding in a bag. So I said cute. And again, just trying to come up with a short word that describes the photo and to have this kind of repeated embellishment cluster across the spread. And I really love how these turned out. I love how the white alphas don't exactly fit on that strip of paper. So they kind of stick off the top and the bottom. And it just gives it a really good look because you can still very clearly read them because of the color behind it, but it helps kind of blend it in with the photo a little and just make it look like it goes there. I don't know. I love how those ones came out. Then I'm moving on to my journaling cards, and I wanted to put some sort of titles on those. So I looked at a couple alpha stickers. Those first ones from Pipsticks were new ones I just picked up. So they are at the top of my stack. So I was looking at those. And then I had those black puffy ones that were from Ellie Edwards. And I was considering those ones, but they were a little big. So what I decided to do was just pull over my Sharpie Creative Tip markers. And these are the fine tip ones. The original ones I got were bold, and now they have some fine tip, which is perfect. I love these so much. And they are linked in the description box below if you're interested in picking them up. So I'm using them to write on a few of my photos, which is what I wanted to do. Really, that one of my teacup there, I wanted to write tea on it in white. And so that was kind of the jumping off point for using these. And then because I wanted to add some titles onto my journaling cards, I decided rather than using the alpha stickers, I was just going to use the black Sharpie Creative Tip marker. So if you're not familiar with these markers, they are paint pens, so you can write really well on photos and things, but I used to use the Posca paint pens, and those pens have like a hardish tip, and when you write with them, it kind of sometimes will spray the ink, and they're just not very conducive to writing smoothly. These ones write really smooth like a regular marker, but they are paint pens, so you can write on top of photos and transparencies, and I'm excited to play with them some more, especially now that I have the thin or the fine tip ones. So on this card here, it says tomorrow is a new day. And so the story I wanted to tell on this card was about our new process, or or routine of drinking hot tea in the evenings, which is something we picked up on vacation while we were in Morocco. And it's just kind of a new routine we have, and I really love it. So I wanted to document that. I'm also going to do 2 additional journaling cards. This one is about our shopping trip to the mall on Saturday and just kind of what our day was Saturday, because we had a pretty busy day. We had a lot going on. We went to the mall. We did a bunch of stuff. So I'm just documenting that here and all of the things that I purchased. And then there's the photo next to it of that little cute owl. That is a new ornament that I picked up this year that I got on our mall trip, and I wanted to include that here. There is one last journaling card that I'm going to do at the end, which is about work burnout, which is really a big part of my life right now. If you are not familiar, I am a tax attorney, and my job has been extremely stressful, especially lately. So I don't document the substance of what I do at work, partially because that is secret information. It's confidential, but also just, that's not really my life. It's my job. It does impact my life a significant amount, especially when the stress of my job overflows into my ordinary life. So that's when I really want to document it in my project life. So that's what that journaling card is going to be about. Something you won't see in this spread, though, is typically in my project life spreads, I will have a bullet point list with just minor stories from the week. And this week I decided to not include that. And I thought that these 3 stories covered enough from this week, plus the photos. I mean, this was really just getting back into routine after vacation. And I was happy just to document these 3 photos. So when you're doing project life, don't think you have to document every single photo or every single story from your week. Just pick some highlights. Pick a couple stories that you want to highlight, pick a couple memories, and that's good. You don't need to document everything. And I think that if you are a perfectionist or a completist and you want all of those things documented, that is one of the reasons why I do keep my daily journal and I do keep story albums and I have all of these different ongoing projects, because it allows me to let go of that need to document literally everything in every single project, because I know I have another project that I can always fill something in if there's something I forgot. I did pull over a few chipboard pieces from my chipboard organization. I do have a video sharing how I organize my chipboard. If you're interested in that, I will link in the description box below for you. And what I did was I just pulled a couple of them to add onto some of my photos. I wanted to leave most of the other photos kind of blank. I had written on a couple, and then I had the embellishment cluster on 3, and then I added chipboard on 2. So then I felt like that was sufficient to embellish most of the spread. I left a couple of the photos unembellished. This was kind of a photo heavy spread, which is great. It makes it a little bit easier to come together. And after vacation now, I'm trying to kind of play catch up on project life and get a few additional spreads put together. My process is generally to do 1 spread per weekend and kind of stay up to date on this project. But when I travel, I fall behind because I don't work on it for a few weeks, and I have extra weeks to document, not really weeks, but spreads, because I do add extra spreads in while I'm traveling. So I'm just working on catching those up now, and we'll have a few extra project-like videos for you in the next few weeks just to catch up, and then I'll be back on track with putting them together. I'm going ahead and sliding everything into the pocket. I did slip the other page into the pocket earlier just to kind of get this one done and make sure I like how everything is. Here's a look at that completed spread. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.